Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is NBL Overtime. You already knew that. Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. That's how you do it. There you go. Got me. Beautifully done. All the NBL socials. I won't waste much time because we've got so much to get into. Homicide in the house. How you doing, my man?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. A new addition to my family.
Congratulations.
Gabrielle Williams is here.
Gabrielle.
Gabby, no doubt.
Because prior to the, and hello to you, Pete Hooley. Welcome to you.
Good to be here.
Welcome to you. Prior to the news, I was like, I'm going to open the show. NBL, like MVP 2045 has arrived, and now it's a WNBA MVP. So congratulations. I didn't get you a spot of shopping.
Oh, here we go. How
there
good.
you go, man. It's there you go. Check that out, and congratulations to you. And hey, I know you get the
Beautiful.
Crocs.
Got some little socks. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate
You
it.
can use that as a pillow to try and get some sleep yourself.
You know what?
You get none of that.
And I'll be honest, I was a little nervous buying him a Croc. I was a little nervous buying him a Croc due to the fact that you, outside of your playing careers, haven't exactly been great friends.
Man.
There you go. Here's the gram photo. Here's the gram.
That's right.
Here we go. He reaches for it. He thinks he's safe. He thinks it's going to play well. This is going to be 1,000 likes. Oh, and Otis has got other plans. Here it is. There we go.
Man.
Oh, we cut it out before you ran away because you look like an absolute coward. But either way, congratulations to you and everyone
man.
involved.
Appreciate it.
And to you, congratulations to you. You've been in this seat, you've been in that seat, and I'm assuming you're getting ready to be in that seat. So
Mate, I'm just remember the old AFL vest? I don't know if they bring it back, but I just pull it off and I come and do whatever needs to be done, mate. Just a super sub, and it's good to be here.
All right, when I sat down to think about how this show should start, I had no other way than to ask a simple question. Because the NBL right now is the most unpredictable in the league, which I believe makes it the most intriguing league right now in the world. I'm going to start with you, Corey. Who do you trust the most? Right now, what club?
Cairns Taipans.
Go on.
I trust them the most. During the most vulnerable time with, obviously, MVP candidate Keanu Pender out, they went undefeated. No one saw this coming. I think everything really changed for them and showed everybody they were really for real when they came back down 18 against the 36ers. That showed everybody they the real deal, and that closed the door on the Adelaide 36ers season. I trust them the most.
It's still the Kings for me. Even though they lost 2 games, I actually think it's going to be more beneficial for them in the long run because prior to that, you look at the scores they were putting up. They nearly put up 180 points in Brisbane, the way they were just scoring the ball. They were balling out. It was almost too easy for them for a while there, and everyone was like, we can lock them into first place. And I think in the back of your mind as a player, you know you don't want to look too far ahead, and I think it's hard not to do that, subconsciously think, look, we're just a step above the competition. Right. You lose back-to-back, not ideal. I thought one loss would have been really good. It depends how, obviously, they come back and play this game against the Jack Jumpers, which is going to be huge. But what it allows Chase Buford to do is they've got film. We need to be better here. I still think they're the deepest team in the competition, and those losses at the right time, I think, is going to only strengthen their credentials down the stretch.
Brisbane Bullets for me.
He's not wrong, though.
I'm not.
He's not wrong.
I'm joking. I'm with the Sydney Kings as well. And I'll tell you why. The depth and the way they're able to bounce back in a series. Because you've got to think of it as a series now. Friday night Perth were really good. Perth were really, really good. There's no play-in games here for Sydney. There's no elimination in the first week of the playoffs. And that's my concern with Perth. What Perth did on Friday night, I'm not certain they can do it with a day's rest and jumping on a flight and being able to back it up. Sydney, I'm confident.
I know what you're about to say.
There you go.
Hit me.
So I woke up, obviously, I don't really sleep a lot, right? And obviously, waiting on Gabby, I'm definitely not sleeping. Gabby's here now.
And definitely not sleeping.
Definitely not sleeping. Here's the first thing I thought of yesterday morning. 10 things we need to discuss. I won't go into all 10 right now.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
But here it is. I trust Cairns more because Cairns going to finish second. You don't want to go down in Tropical North and want to see Cairns in the series, right? They're going to, for me, they really have a chance to make the grand finals. Sydney's going to make the grand finals, right? Let's just put that there. Cairns versus Sydney. Does Sydney really want to meet Cairns? No. Right. In the series regular season, they're 2-1, and they only lost at the buzzer. You get that stop and don't fall asleep, that pass is not even there. They lose the game. That's the team Sydney Kings do not want to face.
It's a fantastic point because you know why? Cairns play at the same speed, if not faster, than the Kings, and everyone else can't sustain it for a 40-minute game. Cairns can. They've done it all season long, and they've lived and died by doing that. And we saw that. And we saw Brisbane try in the first quarter up in Nissan Arena against the Kings say, you know what? You play fast, we're going to play fast. And they did it for the first quarter. And we were all thinking, is it sustainable? Absolutely wasn't for them. Cairns can sustain that. And that's why it is going to be, if that is a grand final series, that's a coin toss.
Now, the remarkable thing about this whole situation is that Melbourne United are probably the hottest team in the league right now. Now, they currently sit 7th. We're going to get into our predictions and the runs home very shortly. But let's have a look at this over the last couple of months. This is really since the start of December. And a lot of this is centred around the return of Shea Ili, which we'll get to shortly. Last 9 games, Melbourne United 8-1. The only game they have lost was Christmas Day, and they played pretty well. They didn't have Chris Golding on that particular day.
That changes everything.
Kings, right. Tasmania. That is really reflective of how tight this NBL season is. Of course, New Zealand had a disruption pretty much at the start of this with COVID, and they've got a bit of a different, unique run into the end of the season. But since Shea Ili went back into that team at the start of December, or just after it, they are the hottest team in the league. I'm going to start with you, Pete Hawley. They beat Adelaide. Shea, of course, looking like we're not really sure, but the odds are that he won't play at least this week against New Zealand. We all had him penciled in to make the playoffs. Has your mindset changed about Melbourne United, considering Shea is a pretty big question mark?
It's hard. It is, because they look like a different team without Shea Ili. I mean, he is Melbourne United. But no, I still think they're going to get these last 2 wins, because the one player who wasn't there when Shea was out was Marcus Lee. So Marcus Lee is now in this team. If they bring Isaac Humphries back, if he gets healthy, Dave Barlow's still out with concussion symptoms. I think the way they're playing with Marcus Lee, and they're getting Chris Golding the ball. So it's working out, and I still think they have enough pieces. Ray John Tucker's a different player.
Yeah, I know, but a lot of the ability to be able to get Chris Golding the ball is on Shea Ili, and the fact that Rattan Mays goes to the bench and's bought in. That's what he was brought in to do. He had to play a much different role to kickstart the year, and now he's finally embraced or feeling a bit more... It's a tough one. You had them as a real chance to go to a grand final a couple of days ago. Has that all changed? Now, before I let you answer, I want to say this, and I think I echo the thoughts of everyone. The health and fitness and well-being of Shea Ili is well more important than actually if a team wins a basketball game or makes a play-in or whatever it might be. So we're obviously thinking of Shea, and he's been a really tough year, and we love how great of a basketball he has been for a long time, but his health and safety and his fitness and his mental well-being going forward is way more important. So that is secondary about teams winning championships and all the rest of it. But you did have them a couple of days ago as a team that could make a grand final. Do you still have that?
I have a few things I want to say. Echo your sentiments to Shea Ili. Very unfortunate. We all, obviously this team was riddled with injuries early, so we couldn't see who they really were. New imports come in, it takes time for them to adjust to the league, the coaching style of play, and their teammates, right? First half gone. This is a completely different team. They're what, 9-2, 8-2 in their last, I don't know. But I remember they lost.
8-2 in the last 10.
Like
Wildcats lost.
10, right? Like
that Wildcats loss shouldn't have been a loss.
It shouldn't even have been a loss, right? So look how they're getting it done at both ends. When your life is on the line, the truest version of you comes out. These guys are hooping. Shea Ili out is a huge L. It's a huge out for him, right? Enter XRM. This is the most important player for this team right now. I'm telling you. I think the growing pains early with the ability to get others involved while still get his, right? You got to find that balance, right? The inability to find that balance early. Enter Shea Ili. You go back to what you were brought in to do. It's like, damn, like I was getting these minutes, but we weren't winning. Now I come back here, my role is actually what it was supposed to be from the beginning, but we're winning. I got to find my balance. Now I finally find my feet in this role, and now the role is about to change. It's on him. Can he handle that? If he's able to balance getting his as well as keeping Chris Golding involved. Ray John Tucker's a different player. If he's able to do that, they can make finals. But when we talk about Southeast Melbourne, Phoenix.
About to. Hang on. Firstly, I would try and find a way if I was Dean Vickerman to start someone that's not Rattan Mays. Now, I don't know if they have the bench player to actually do
They ain't got that.
I don't think they do.
To be honest, I think you're going to find Rajon Tucker playing the backup point a lot. So maybe that's something they muck around with if they want to go with that and play Rajon Tucker. He's going to play backup point, maybe start him there. But Rajon Tucker is that key piece as well.
Man.
Because now he's shooting the 3 ball at 39%.
You cannot play off.
They would collapse on Rattan Mays early and make his life. So it's a different team, but Shea Ely, as your thoughts.
Same thing. Tucker's getting a better 3 ball because Shea Ely's ability to be able to get 2 feet in the paint.
It's going to be interesting, no doubt.
Is.
But it's
New
again,
Zealand,
none of it matters, to be honest, as you talk about.
Agree. New Zealand Saturday night, then Adelaide in the last game of the year, the second last game of the year on the last day. Now let's get to Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, because these two teams are battling it out, ironically, to be able to play a play-in game and try and force their way into it. And they were huge. They get beaten a couple of Mondays ago. Brisbane belt them around. We just pretty much write them off. They go to Launceston and belt around Tasmania. They beat Perth very comfortably on Sunday. And Ryan Broekhoff was unbelievable in this first half. This is last Wednesday night. They went to work. They had backs against the wall. They went absolutely bonkers. And then Sunday, well, Mitch Creek doing Mitch Creek things. And again, the story, Homicide, is on the back of it. Ryan Broekhoff, 22 points in the first half. Unfortunately, gets hurt, which is we've seen way too often for what everyone wants to see. And as we sit here right now, it looks like he is doubtful. Now, to add a little bit of intrigue into this, they don't play in the last round. They've got 2 games left. They've got Wednesday night and they've got Sunday, both tough games, Cairns, and then the Sydney Kings on the road. And then they're sitting around practicing, not knowing if they're going to make it. We've seen a very, very upset Ryan Broekhoff. And again, thinking of him as well. Had a quick chat to him after the game. I know you were sideline and wished him the best and hope that it's not too bad. Talk to me.
Throughout his short time here in this league, he has been injured so much and has never really had an opportunity to get into that groove that we've all known throughout his past, what he's been able to do as far as shooting the ball on a consistent level, right? So for him to finally get the groove in one of the most important games of his Southeast Melbourne Phoenix career, and then at the end that happens, it's heartbreaking. It truly, truly is, because with all of that, he might not be able to play. It's a groin.
He won't play this week.
It's a groin.
I haven't seen the scans, but he won't play this week.
Heartbreaking is the right word, because this is a man who, he's been very open now about his mental health struggles. To come back now and be in a better place in that, and now to finally have that breakout game. But he's been playing well before that, and to be able to feel good. And that interview at halftime with Copes, to go from that feeling like you're in that groove to what happened at the end. That's why, until the scans come out as we record this, we're not exactly sure how bad it is. That emotion is a lot of, I'm finally feeling good and I can't catch a break. So it is heartbreaking. And that one right there, I don't look too much into that Perth game for the Phoenix. Perth looked tired by the end, and Phoenix had to do that and just run them off their legs with a short rotation. But last year when Ryan Broekhoff got hurt, Phoenix fell apart. You talk about Shea Ely as an important part for Melbourne United. You cannot replace his calmness and leadership on the floor.
I agree 95%. I think Trey Kell this year, and he's got to stand up and actually be a bit of a leader, more so than a guy who lets the game come to him now that Broekhoff isn't there. But I think they're a slight bit better to cover Ryan Broekhoff this year than they were 12 months ago. But I still have major concerns on this team.
So Ryan Broekhoff's that guy, even when he's not shooting the ball well or whatever, he plays 35 minutes a game in that trust role where you're not going to make mistakes. Do they have players to fill the role that won't make mistakes and that Simon Mitchell can trust for 35 minutes?
Not to win a championship.
That's my
But I also think they're better off than last year to fill it well. All right, the good news is on the other side of this break, we're going to predict the play-in games. And I'm assuming we've all got the same, so we'll see what it is on the other side of this.
Brantley with 23 of his own. Pulls up. Off the bench. Sunday transaction from Jarrell Brantley. Goodness me. Big performance from Jarrell Brantley. To be the man, you got to beat the man. And the Breakers have just knocked off the ladder-leading Sydney Kings.
Breakers, losing streak, Sydney, 14,000, defending champions, Bank, Jack Heverin, one of the best calls. He is the best caller in the game. He was brilliant. He nailed that, as he quite often does. And the New Zealand Breakers, well, they go to Sydney and get it done. Now, if you're just joining us for the first time, Homicide isn't just bringing in a little toy. just for fun with some type of fetish. He's had a baby, and that's our present to him. So there you go. All right, let's get into it because this is remarkable. It is a huge 10 days in the NBL. Let's have a look firstly at the ladder as it stands right now. Kings are top, Cairns right there as well. New Zealand still trying to get to the top 2. Tassie after the big week on the weekend, the Perth Wildcats. There's Phoenix and Melbourne United who have already spoken about. Now, this is huge. Here's the run home for the 5 teams, the top 5. As we have a look at this, I'm just sitting back and relaxing because I'll be honest, I've got no bloody idea what's happening because they all play each other, which in a smallish league is of no surprise. And it all starts when the Cairns Taipans wander into a packed State Basketball Centre in Melbourne, the second home of the Phoenix, and go head-to-head on what can only be described as a massive Wednesday. There it is, all the runs home. Of course, jump on nbl.com.au because what we have done, the 3 of us, is try and decipher how the play-in tournament is going to look. Are you ready for this? You want me to go first?
I hope you've gone bold. I hope you've gone bold.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go on.
All right, here we go. Throw it up there, crew. Let's have a look at this. I've got New Zealand finishing 3rd, Tasmania finishing 4th. I've still got MU hosting a home game, and the Wildcats to finish 6th. I've got concerns over South East Melbourne Phoenix. I think I tell you what, the actual end of the game on Sunday hurts the Wildcats because percentage could come down to it. So there you go. New Zealand deserve to finish 3rd. I think they'll scamper it enough. Tasmania, they'll play that first one, then Melbourne United and the Perth Wildcats.
Yeah, I'm not that upset with that. And to be honest,
how can you be upset with it? It's right.
If any of us have different in the top 3, if anyone have the top 3 different, there's something wrong.
That's very true.
But again, anything. What's the news with Barry Brown Jr.?
Well, it's still a game time decision. Possibly, hopefully, he gets back out there because as great as Will McDowell White is, and I think he's an All NBL second team player. They need Brown to have his crack at the championship. Halls, take it away. What do you got?
I've got pretty much the same, except I've flipped Perth and I flipped Tassie. So I'm not completely convinced with Tassie, and I'll tell you why. Because, I think Perth will win 3 out of their last 4.
You reckon?
I think they're playing well. You know what hurts?
Do you think they'll beat? So I've got an issue here with planes being delayed and being cancelled. I'm being legit about this.
No.
It happened on the weekend to Perth, and they've got to go to Tasmania on Sunday. Now, if a plane gets delayed or cancelled and they roll in at midnight again, it severely hurts their chance to win.
But what hurts them the most is dominant big men. Tassie don't have a 20 and 16 like Alan Williams did. So I think Perth can get the job done then, and I think that they will finish the season strong the way they've been playing, especially if they play and shoot the ball as well as they had been.
If the playoff schedule helps them and they get a day or 2 extra rest, it really helps them because they're a team that's high octane, just going to outscore the other team.
Ty Webster's hamstring, that's another thing as well. We haven't got an update on that.
Jeez,
so that's how I've got. And I think with you, I think MU get the job done.
All right, Corey, take it away.
Let's do it. Here's what I think. Nothing changes.
Oh, wow.
2 big injuries that we know. Obviously, Shea, Ryan Brokoff. I believe right now, Trey Kell, Mitch Creek, Alan T. Williams, and Gary Brown bring it home. So, all they need to do is split. Both of those teams are going to split. Melbourne United, Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. I believe they're going to split the last 2 games. And you know what's going to happen? The percentages are going to come back to haunt Melbourne United. Because I said it before. Pre-injury, they would have won out. If Shea did not get injured, they would win the next 2 games. But he's so important to what they do at both ends. I believe they're going to split. Right now, you don't want to see New Zealand Breakers after winning that game a while ago in New Zealand. They're going to go there. They're going to lose to New Zealand. They'll win the last one against Adelaide, right? Phoenix are going to split, but they're going to have the points because they beat the crap out of Perth. That's what's going to come back, and I got the Phoenix to get in because of that.
I don't disagree in that last 3 or 4 minutes on Sunday because it wasn't a 20-point game for the majority of it.
I was like,
but the last couple of minutes.
That's it right there.
I know it sounds ridiculous that I'm bringing up plane delays, but the fact that Perth need energy, it's the way they play their basketball, high octane, outscoring the other team, which they do Friday night in Perth against Sydney. I will say this. So you're splitting. So are they beating Cairns? So they play Cairns and Sydney to finish the top 2 teams. And you know what?
I'm going to tell you this right now. If you're in first place and you got to buy that long before you play, are you playing your top players in that last game? I'm not.
Well, if you've got to buy.
If you got to buy, like once you lock in first place, I'm talking Sydney Kings.
Yeah, no,
are you playing You playing your best players in that
Hang on,
last
you want to
game?
get but hang on. The last game this weekend. Phoenix have the last weekend off.
Yeah.
Because the Brisbane game got brought forward. So Sydney's still got to play in the next weekend after the Cairns game.
But if I'm Sydney,
So you're resting them on Sunday.
how
this
many
week.
games Sydney have left?
I can
3
tell
or
you.
2?
To carry the 2. They've got carry the 2.
Tassie,
There it
Adelaide,
is.
Phoenix, and Perth.
There you go. They got,
okay, so
they
they
got
gotta
3.
play. They
Yeah,
gotta play.
they're still
They
going to
gotta
play after
play.
Sunday. They're
They
going
want
to
to
play.
finish top.
They don't lock in.
Now they've lost that. Yeah, they've lost
they
2. They
have
want
to
to finish
play.
top.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? So for the exact same reason you mentioned about Cairns and that parochial home crowd, if Cairns get on a run and the Kings sort of relax a little bit and Cairns ended up the number 1 seed, which I don't think is
Sydney in
going to
trouble.
happen, you don't want to have
Weirdly enough,
the road.
I feel like the most important game this weekend is Friday night in Tassie, Sydney versus Tassie. Does Sydney bounce back and put on a display? Because if Tassie lose that one at home, how tense do they get a little bit? Because you want to build that fortress at home. If Sydney lose 3 on the trot, then all of this we're talking about becomes almost irrelevant.
You know, the actual question I asked off the top about who do you trust the most, and there's an argument to be said that it's Tasmania, right? Because
I trust Tassie the most.
Well, I'll tell you why.
They're one of the teams I trust.
Because
a
when they
lot.
have a bad performance, they bounce straight back. And then you're like, well, here we go, so the Tassie. But then they have a bad performance. Like, if they had beaten Southeast Melbourne Phoenix last Wednesday, or at least played at least a semblance of the team we like, then all of a sudden we'd be like, hang on. I actually almost trust them the least, even though you know if they have a bad performance, they're going to bounce back.
My other side of it is I almost wanted to have them missing out completely because the more people write them off, the better.
Anti-Tassie.
Missing out what?
Anti-Tassie. Oh, you hate the
Let
state,
me
do
go,
you?
Tassie, you hear that?
Because-
Peter Hooley
no,
hating on y'all
no,
too.
That's not what I'm saying. Because the more that people
Unbelievable.
write them off, the better they play. I want to see them win a whole
okay.
championship.
Okay.
But if everyone says, you know what, they're elite, it doesn't work. It takes their foot off the gas. They like their backs against the wall.
That's a seat. Anyone who sits in that seat hates Tassie. They're Halls.
They love people.
Unbelievable.
They love people
you know
going
what?
against them.
I'll tell
They
you
love
what.
people
The
going
only thing
against
we can do right now is play this because Tyler Harvey went bang. Let's watch it
Oh my
again.
goodness.
Tyler Harvey, he'll have the final say one way or another. 4, 3. He's going up from deep, from downtown. Tyler Harvey! Oh my goodness, with 1.3 to go! You knew it was coming, and he bangs it down! Cairns can tie it up or take the lead back. They tie it up through to Hugh McCall. He's been outstanding. That makes it 22.
I mean, how can you guard that?
To Hugh McCall in the open court.
Anywhere towards the key. No one can stop him. He's just too big and strong. Turn over here. McCall looks it off and lays it home.
McCall at half-time, got it! An incredible quarter from the Cairns Taipans. High voltage basketball, and they've got 57 on the board at the half.
Spotlight player in January, all thanks to 2K23. Tajir McCall and the Cairns Taipans are humming along nicely. Giant Slayer badge is what he's earned.
Love it.
Hey, Pride round this weekend as well in the NBL. Congratulations to all in the NBL, but in particular to Isaac Humphries, of course. The announcement a couple of months ago now, actually, but brilliantly. He's the initiator, and this is where we sit right now. So well done to everyone involved. All right, yes or no, officially recognised as the best segment in Australian basketball in a couple of weeks' time, February 7 at the awards night. Let's get into this. Connor Henry, former head coach of the Adelaide 36ers, tweeted that. I ask you, Pete Hawley, would Connor Henry have won more games than CJ Bruton this year?
Not unless he's an elite defender.
Should an NBL team have a huge crack at Paddy Mills for NBL 24?
Yes.
Is Xavier Cooks more likely to play in the NBA next year than Dante Exum?
No.
Do the Illawarra Hawks, keeping in mind the national spotlight on 10 Peach, do the Illawarra Hawks deserve more Sunday home games?
No.
Should the whole league have worn black armbands last week for Mark Leader?
Yes.
Tyler Johnson, will he be in the NBL next year?
No.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you this.
I think he might. I think he likes it here.
I agree. I think he'll be in the league. I don't think he'll be at Brisbane, and I think other clubs should be having a look at him. His last couple of weeks have been really
Plenty
good.
of clubs to have a look at him, but I
Yeah.
don't think he'll be.
True. Hey, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Go get some sleep.
Get
You'll
some
never
sleep,
get that
man.
again.
Word.
Trust
Hey,
me.
you've
Get
got a
some
kid
sleep.
too. Get some sleep. You know what? I don't have a kid. I won't sleep. See ya.